It's not just Democrats that the president has to worry about next year. Several Republicans are challenging him in a primary. One of them is Mark Sanford, former South Carolina governor and congressman, and he joins us now. Governor, you say that the Republicans have lost their way, but look, under President Trump we have tax cuts, prosperity, and a booming economy. Isn't that what Republicans want?
Well, as you well know, Stuart, in essence, you can buy growth. You can buy growth in a company. You can buy growth in a government. And I would argue that we've bought some of our growth at great cost in terms of indebtedness. And so I think Republicans have always stood for, a sound financial footing. And I think we have lost our way given the increases in spending we've seen of late and, frankly, the record deficits that were recorded and talked about just yesterday in the papers.
Is that your main point? I mean, is that the main point? We're going deeper and deeper into debt, and it's Trump's fault in part, and you don't like it?
Yeah, that's the central. I mean, I lay it out on my website, marksanford.com. Look for it. And what I say is the central message of this campaign is that we've got to do something about debt, deficit, and government spending, and that we're at a tipping point. And I honestly believe that.
Okay. Look, we've got a deficit this year of approximately almost $1 trillion, and it is growing.
Yes, sir.
But, it's been growing for a long, long time, and nothing happens. I mean, there is no, at the moment, I don't see a downside. It's not like we've got a sudden crash of some sort. It's not like suddenly the banks run out of money or whatever. It's not like that. It's not an immediate problem, is it?
Well, I respectfully disagree in that it is an immediate problem because, as we all know, whether it's on a business's financial statement or in a family's budget, there is a tipping point, and I would argue that we're at that tipping point because we've never run what's projected, which is trillion-plus dollar deficit over the next 10 years in a peacetime and relatively benign economic environment, which is the case right now. We've never had this level of indebtedness in peacetime, which is where we are right now, and obviously the spending that drive both. And so what I'd respectfully submit is that we are at a tipping point, and the numbers are, in fact, alarming. And you could come up with a lot of different bites at the apple, but look at the length of this economic expansion. To your point, it's about double the length of every other expansion that we've had in terms of the average since World War II. And when things begin to turn down, it's going to put acute pressure on the financial picture of our country. And historically, just one quick point, historically, as we've gone through downturns, which we do on a cyclical basis, it's sort of been a 5-and-5 rule. The Fed has reduced rates by about 5 points in combating that recession, and at the federal government level, we have seen deficits spiral up by about 5 percentage points with fiscal policy. Right now, we do not have the tools in the toolkit based on where we are on both of those fronts, the trillion-dollar deficits and where Fed is. So I think we're at a tinderbox point. I think we're at a very, very vulnerable spot.
Okay, but I'm sure you listened to the Democrat debate last night. You know what Democrat policies are. You know that they would expand the deficit like you wouldn't believe. Are you worried about criticizing President Trump and the Republicans and allowing the Democrats to run that deficit up to the sky?
No, I would agree with you that I sent out a tweet last night. I don't send many tweets, but I was like, this is crazy. Yeah. It was a debate of more versus more. I totally agree with you. But what I would say is, there are a lot of sports teams that will be playing tonight here in South Carolina, and they scrimmage this week, and they're made stronger because they scrimmage. And so I think that there's a value within the Republican Party. I think we're stronger as a party as a consequence of debate, particularly on spending.
Let me leave it here. You're going to make a point.
Yes, sir.
You're not necessarily going to win. Mark Sanford, thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Pleasure. Thank you.